Welcome everyone. Today we focus on dyslexia strategies to assist a learner who has dyslexia. By myself, Tammy-Lee, Shanta Mayberg, and Sumaya Gamildin. The key points we'll focus on in this presentation is: what is dyslexia, the definition of dyslexia, the causes of dyslexia, how we can identify dyslexia, as well as practical everyday classroom accommodations and all the teaching strategies.
Good day everyone, I'm Sumaya Hamildin. What is dyslexia? Dyslexia is a learning disorder that affects the learner's reading and language skills. It is also a disability how the brain will proceed with language writing abilities. They will have speech problems in identifying how they relate to words and letters by decoding them. They think of seeing letters and words backwards. It is caused by phonological awareness, not by seeing, but by manipulating and playing. It affects out of 5 children. Neurodiversity. They lie mostly on the right brain side. Holistical development, creativity, music, and art. Dyslexia is not a vision or hearing problem. Many learners with dyslexia just need appropriate support from the school or teachers so that they can improve in time. This disorder can be under many years of treatment. It is also a good sign if it is attacked at a young age. Dyslexia can be very emotional for these learners to deal with. Many of them feel embarrassed, afraid, or shy. Some signs could be identified before schooling. The children will speak later, adapt slowly to new words, and have problems remembering sounds, letters, and words or rhymings. Dyslexia symptoms will normally occur at the time when they start school. The teacher will most likely pick up this during her reading time or when the learner has writing skills to do at school. Some of them have difficulty in gripping the pencils as well.
Dyslexia is a specific learning disability that is neurobiological in origin. It is characterized by difficulties with accurate or even fluent word recognition and by poor spelling and decoding abilities. Dyslexia is a different way of processing words. It also affects more than just reading and writing. It can also affect the difficulty with organization, maths problems, as well as memory.
The causes of dyslexia. The exact causes of dyslexia are not clear. It is mainly due to certain genes that could affect the brain and how it processes reading and language. However, reading or learning disability increases the risk of having it. Even when someone does not have dyslexia, reading is still a complicated function of the brain. Genetic. Dyslexia is often genetic and has family history of inheritance. A parent could have a certain percentage of dyslexia, making it highly likely that the child will inherit it. Other indications of how and why most cases occur are Differences in the development and function of the brain. Anyone with dyslexia, the brain forms and works differently than expected. They tend to have different functions, structures, and chemistry. Disruption of the development and function of the brain. The likelihood of developing dyslexia later increases when the brain is exposed to toxins or infections. Other risk factors include low birth weight, exposure to substances, brain injury, and premature birth.
Next, we will look at how dyslexia can be identified. There are a variety of signs and symptoms depending on the age of the individual. And we will now look at some of the key indicators in this topic. The first one we will look at is early childhood indicators. There are 4 topics, main points. Firstly, there is delayed speech development. And normally children with dyslexia may have delays in speaking. They will have trouble pronouncing words or correctly forming sentences. There's also challenges with directions and sequencing, as they will find it difficult to follow directions or steps, such as first do that, then do that, next go there. They find that quite challenging to organize themselves on how to follow that instruction. They will also have difficulty in rhyming. We will often see that children struggle with rhyming words, which is linked to challenges in their phonological awareness. This is a key factor, of course, in reading development. Lastly, we will have observe difficulty learning letters or numbers, and this will mean that they have trouble recognizing numbers or letters as well as the order of the alphabet. Now, if we look at school age indicators, there are quite a few main symptoms that one can identify. Firstly, we will look at reading difficulties, and this is the most prominent sign when it comes to reading, particularly with their accuracy and fluency. There it can be observed that the reading will be slow and with a lot of effort. You also will see and notice that children might confuse similar looking letters such as the B and the D, which comes through in the reversals and transpositions topic. This refers, as I said, to the writing and the reading of letters and numbers in reverse, and they often mix the numbers up or the order of the letters. There's also difficulty in memory. This can include short-term memory problems, particularly with remembering sequencing. As we mentioned before, they have difficulty with sequencing and order. A big issue for dyslexic children is spelling, and this is where they have trouble with irregular spelling. And again, that comes back to the phonetical problems. They also have difficulty in writing. This includes poor handwriting, difficulty in organizing written thoughts and problems, as well as, of course, punctuation and grammar. And then lastly, this is probably more of the well-known symptoms, is trouble with math. And some students with dyslexia struggle with math, especially in understanding word problems or multi-step procedures. Now, as educators, we are not all normally professionally qualified to be able to assess whether a child or confirm whether a child is dyslexic, and this is where formal identification will come in. These signs that we mentioned above indicate dyslexia, though as formal assessments would be required to completely diagnose. A professional such as a psychologist or a special education expert will typically perform a comprehensive evaluation, and these might include the following. Firstly, they could look at testing for phonological awareness. This is assessing how well someone can manipulate the sounds in words, for example, rhyming, blending, or segmenting. They can also look at reading and writing tests. This is your evaluating the reading fluency, comprehension, and also writing skills. Cognitive assessments such as evaluating intelligence and cognitive skills can rule out other conditions. Now, overall, early identification and intervention is crucial for providing effective support to individuals with dyslexia. And this is where teachers and parents play a key role in noticing the early signs and then, of course, seeking appropriate evaluations.
The next few slides I will be doing will be the one of practical everyday classroom accommodation and teaching strategy for dyslexia learner. The educator plays a vital role revisiting the previous lessons before beginning a new lesson. Have a short and clear instruction, not too much information is learned. Learners with dyslexia learn more effectively visually. In foundation phase, they learn easily with rhyming words, and with older learners like intermediate phase, they use more audio reading and writing activities. Create a supportive classroom environment and peer system support. Enhance a culture classroom with understanding and support of all diversity learning needs. Let the learners feel free to express themselves and make it feel anxiety free for them. Work with these peers, they will help and focus them better at times. With the peer system support, learners actually encourage and collaborate, and they build up their teamwork, and they actually start communicating to each other. Learning syllabus, breaking down words, hippopotamus, tomato, using fun pictures to help split this syllables. When we do hippopotamus, we can do it in a fun way. We can easily give it into a clap. Hippopotamus. Ask the learner how many claps they have given. They will exactly tell you. They've given 5 claps. Then we go to tomato. Tomato. How many claps have they given? Then they will say they have given 3 claps. At the same time, they learn to count the numbers how many times, and they also learn the sound and the rhyming. Use visual aids. Learners struggle with matching sounds, such as not knowing whether it is sound an H as an H or a P as a P. At a young age, they always have trouble rhyming. Using rhyming sounds to help learners with the identification the sound. So this visual aids are very much in need for these learners, and it can support them to recognize the matching sounds. Phonological processing support. They have trouble remembering, so we can have activities that help learners recognize and manipulate sounds in words. However, this can be very critical by reading for a learner. Critical reading support for learners with phonological processing is a challenge, a very big challenge. Multisensory instructions. This is a very good way of using teaching approach with visual or kinetic tactile methods to reinforce learning. In the foundation, we use sand trays with sand, salt, and sandpaper, so the learner feels the texture and at the same time gets the feeling to draw the sound or word in the activity in the tray. Mispronouncing words. use a smaller vocabulary than other learners the same age to make it manageable for the learner with dyslexia to function or understand it as well. Use dyslexia-friendly font. This helps learners develop their reading. Have a clear letter form designed for a learner to recognize. Consistent spacings between letters and the word helps the visual connection for the learner. Highlight and color code. Use sounds or words with color code notes which make it easier for them to understand and identify. Let's look at the days of the week and how difficult it can be to identify which day comes before the other and after. Especially for young learners, using pictures or color-coded notes make it much more easier for them. Use pictures or color-coded notes to show the sequencing. For instance, Monday will be red with the color-coded sticker next to it, or Tuesday with green and Wednesday with blue. So this is how the learner will start recognizing those days by the colors of the coding that was next to those names, and then they will start memorizing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Read aloud accommodation. The teacher should read aloud at first until the learner starts to feel more comfortable. Allow the learner to read with assistive technology here. They will memorize the words and the tone of voice of the reading structure. Use like tabs and the projectors with the audio, and these are how they will start learning to memorize and pick up the skills easy. Graphic organizer. Even though these are used in many classes, consider the word it can be for a dyslexia learner. Having visual tools that's concrete with charts or games, however, will help the learner to organize ideas and be able to do structured writing. The benefits they can enhance out of it is their writing skills will be more organized and support these learners in good mapping skills or games ideas.
In conclusion, dyslexia affects various aspects of life, especially neurological learning disorder that affects children's ability to read, write, and process sounds. However, this would affect them all the way to adulthood. Despite the challenges they face, they are able to overcome and reach their full potential. Ongoing support is essential to ensure they have access to learning opportunities and to make the educational experience more accommodating. Thank you for listening. This brings us to the end of our presentation today.